live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you're making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Guys, I know that we're just getting into the show, but we do have some breaking news coming out of Columbia or Como, Missouri. Head coach for Missouri, Eli Drinkowitz, has just said that he will have 7 players out for Missouri due to coronavirus. Only one player tested positive, but we are getting some breaking news. As the show will go on, we will talk about it. So 7 players for Missouri will be out, so we will talk about that. Also, guys, all of our prayers and concerns are with everybody in the state of Louisiana as Hurricane Delta is making its way to the coast of Louisiana. Everyone in Lake Charles, Lafayette, really everywhere in the state of Louisiana where this storm will make an impact. Our prayers are with you. Dylan Landry, what's going on, man? Chris Rabelais, go Tigers. Yes, sir. Oh, crap, I just dropped the green bean lid in the can. Yes, indeed. Hope everyone's staying safe out there. Yes, we do hope that everyone stays safe. Dylan Landry, Colin Thibodeau, all you guys on the west side of the state, please remain safe. Prayers for everyone, says our good friend Chris. Just dropping in to say what's up. We staying home and going to ride it out. Thanks for all the prayers. Love y'all. We love you too, man. We love you too. Stay safe out there, man, and go Tigers. Did they list their positions and if they were starters? No, Colin, they didn't. They did not tell or say what players were going to be out. I doubt that we know that until game time, really, of the players that are going to be out for Missouri as they play the LSU Tigers at 11 a.m. As we mentioned yesterday, the game will be live on SEC Network, the alternate channel. So stay tuned for that. You can look at for any provider. I don't know what channels it is for every provider. I didn't look that up, but I'm sure you guys know where the SEC Network channel is by now. If you are somewhere, bub. Same here, bub. Yeah. My mom, stay safe. She wants all the RU Syrians to stay safe. Yeah, we do too. We do too. Guys, we do have a good show in store for you. As you see on the top, we do have some breaking news as we're learning about. Also, we're going to give the LSU score predictions. Guys, what do you – and girls, what score predictions do you believe will be for the LSU game Saturday? Give us your score predictions, and we will put them on the screen right here in the comments as always. And at the end of it, I will give you mine as well. So we'll go through it. And give you some of the keys. Guys, we talked about this all week. It's not something that it's new, but what is new now is that Missouri does have these 7 players out. Very significant. We don't know if they're starters, so I don't want to say how significant because it could be very minimal. But depth will always come into an issue. Depth will always come into it. Blake, what it do? Mike Bazile, our good financial advisor, right here. Boom shakalaka. Guys, let me tell you something about Mike. He's absolutely killing it in the financial game, in the financial advising game. Look, if you have a family, if you have a small business, you need to call Mike Bazile today at 504-343-1576. That's 504-343-1576. And tell him Blake Ruffino sent you because, look, if you live for it, you damn sure better plan for it. Give him a call right there and tell him his good friend Blake sent you on over. Let's see. We got a comment from Doug here. SEC alternate, is that the new ESPN Ocho? Maybe. Gino, what's up, man? Gino, what's happening? He says, rough house. What's up? Not much, man. Not much. We're just getting some breaking news. I want all of your LSU Missouri score predictions. So you can put them in the comments, and we'll talk about them there. And we're going to go through this as pretty much as much as we can as we're learning it. Look, some keys to victory before I give you my prediction on the game and the score. Look, Missouri's offense is not that great. They do go to Connor Bazelak, who's a redshirted freshman quarterback. He came in last week and really gave Missouri a really good push, a really, really good push. But I don't think it's enough. I think that, if this game were to have the traditional fans and traditional numbers, non-COVID-19 related, I might be a little worried. The only thing for LSU that does have me a little bit concerned is that Charles Turner is going to be starting that left guard from what we understand. That really is the only thing that scares me. Missouri's defense is absolutely Rudy Poo. Let's see. We got some scores here. Chase Riley says LSU 38, Missouri 13. David says LSU 55, Missouri 10. But here's some keys that I want to see. I think that you have to continue to get John Emery the football. He had 15 touches all of last week. I want him to see get close to 20 if possible. I know that LSU is doing the running back by committee, but after we saw last week, guys, it's very safe to assume that LSU is going to make something happen. So we'll get some more of these. Also, our good friend Tommy Krysan is going to be joining the show around 7:15, 7:20. He's going to be on the stream with us. I love how TK breaks down the game. I know that you guys remember TK a lot from radio. He's doing the podcast now, so we'll have him on around 7:20. Let's see. Josh says 35-10 to LSU. Okay, I like it. I dig it. Is Mizzou's defense more Rudy Poo than Ole Miss's? No. Maybe, Brandy. I mean, they're both pretty bad. They're probably about the same, at least what we've seen from the last 2 weeks. So I don't want to say that Ole Miss has the worst defense in the SEC, but it's kind of close. It's kind of close. David said, or Gino says, yet to be seen. We'll see. I just think that you got to get Emery more touches. Look, if last week was an indication of anything, and even Coach O talked about this last night on the post or the TJ Ribbs show, the coaches show, that we got to start throwing the ball more to John Emery, getting him more involved. Well, hell, he had 15 touches last week. How are you going to get him more involved outside of getting more than 15 touches? So that's what I think. But outside of Charles Turner, I think that LSU is going to be able to throw the football down the field. Now, it depends. If these 7 players are out and if they're even close to being starters, if they're on either side of the ball, they can't afford to lose anybody else on this defense because this defense is already struggling. So we'll have to sit here and monitor as it goes on to see what's happening. If it's on the offensive side, I mean, guys, really on either side of the ball, it's going to be a big impact for Missouri. Now, it obviously changes my prediction as to what I'm going to think coming in game time. A lot of tricky factors going into this one. A lot of tricky ones. LSU was supposed to be playing this game at home. Now at 8 o'clock. Now they're on the road playing it at 11. Now Missouri has 7 players out. So I don't know, man. I don't know. This is pretty tricky. Brandy says, all right, well then give me LSU 55-20 then. Okay. Mike Bazile says 51-24 LSU. A lot of people are giving LSU 51 point or close to 50 points. I don't know if I'm going to go there yet. I just don't know if I'm going to go there yet. But I think it's close. Look, if anything that we've seen from Miles Brennan over the last 2 weeks, he's a little bit more confident. I don't know how much better this Missouri defense is than what we saw from Vanderbilt last week. It could be close. It could be very close that they're going to be maybe a slight tick better, but not much more. With that being said, and with another week under his belt, I think Miles Brennan continues to go out and throw for a lot of yards. Hopefully, the wide receiver group has not as many drops as they've had in the first 2 weeks. If the receiving corps gives Miles the ability to throw them the football without these drops, guys, Miles could be in store for a very big day. I still think that they want to throw the ball close to 35 to 40 times. That's been their pedigree. They want to run close to 60 plays, if not more. And so if he does throw 30, 35, 40 times, I could see Miles Brennan going for well north of 300 yards. And guys, we have to gain this confidence moving forward into Florida week. We have to be able. Let's see. Colin Thibodeau says 42-17 the Tigers. I see what you're doing here, Thibodeau. Who's giving you my notes? Who's sending you? Who in the Rudy Poo has been sending you my notes, Thibodeau? That's 3 weeks in a row. But yes, if that's any indicator where I think it's going to be, that should give you a good hint. With that being said, I did say that LSU would score 41 points last week. Gino says, we got 50 plus. Man, okay. I just don't know. Can LSU put the 50 burger? Can they put the 50 burger up? If they have certain starters out, then LSU another touchdown. It's another good point, man. So this is going to be tough now that all of this is starting to break around Missouri. Mike Bazile says, I can see LSU letting loose on offense, play calling, getting comfortable with Brennan, getting comfortable and got some rapport on the field. Okay. Not only is he a damn good Series 7 passing advisor, but he's also good in his football breakdowns. They have zero secondary. They do, Gino. They do. Man, I thought that Vandy had some suspect defensive backs, but man, Jared Garantano was throwing dimes on them. And that guy is a lot like Kellen Mond, not a lot of consistency and throwing them bombs. So we can see. Gino also says, if we slang it, we win. Gino, I agree. I think they come out slinging, but I think that they're going to try to get Chris Curry and John Emery a little bit involved. And look, everything that I'm hearing is that with all of these Missouri players out, the 7 that are out, and throughout the week, John Emery is going to get a lot of your touches, right? John Emery is going to be that guy who's going to probably start, who's probably going to get the first carry, depending on what happens in the flow of the game. You know, if Trey Palmer or Derek Stingley breaks one off and the punt or kick return game, and you're down at the 1, I don't know if John Emery will be in there. So, but you get what I'm saying. If LSU gets the ball first, I would expect to see John Emery have a very, very big game, y'all. A very, very big game. We have one on YouTube for some reason, a question, and it's not popping up. Blake, why do you believe that LSU will score close to 35? Well, I haven't given my prediction yet. I guess you're talking about the Thibodeau, when we did this, and I said that this is about what I'm thinking. Because, again, guys, this Missouri defense is trash water. As my good friend would say, they're Dookie water. They can't throw the foot. I mean, with Basilek, they can throw the football. They can't run the football in between the tackles. They can't stop anything defensively. This would be a very big shocker if this game stays close. The only way Missouri keeps this game close is if LSU beats themselves and and commits turnovers. It's the only way that LSU is going to drop to Missouri coming up. Let's see. Thibodeau said, Esteban says, what's popping, folks? Just coming in. Who has players out, LSU and Missouri? From what we're understanding from head coach Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri has 7 players out, but only 1 player tested positive. So 7 players for Missouri. We don't know if they're starters. He wasn't elaborate in his conference before the game started. So Missouri has the players out. Colin Thibodeau says score will also depend a lot if we can have less drops by the wide receivers. Yeah, we talked about that, and I agree. Okay, guys, we do have Mr. Tommy Krysan who's going to be joining the show. Let's get over to our – guys, you know what time it is. We got to pay a little bills over here, and none better than our good friend, GM Varnado, or our good friends, I should say. I should have made that plural. But our good friends, GM Varnado and Sons. Guys, I talked to 2 people today who said, Blake, I went over to GM Varnado and Sons. I needed some quick repair maintenance on my vehicle. I was in and out within 10 minutes, was able to still get in my lunch break and then go back to work. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, truck repair, routine maintenance. No job is too big or too small for our friends over at GM. 2500 Florida Boulevard in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Set up a meeting with them today or go see them, 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you. Okay, we got my good friend, Mr. TK. Tommy Krysan's in the building. TK, what's popping tonight, my friend?
Oh man, I'm just ready for this storm to get here. I'm all ready to hunker down and do what I got to do, but still a lot of sports going on, and that's great.
Yes, indeed. I know we got some Major League Baseball playoffs that are going on. You know, the only sucky thing, TK, about all of this is that a lot of these games are during the day, and I'm not able to catch a lot of them. But hey, baseball's baseball, and we'll catch it out, right?
I've been watching a good bit of it, in between errands and business meetings and whatnot, but it's been fun to watch. As you know, I'm a huge baseball guy, so I've enjoyed the baseball that I've been able to watch on TV.
Yes, indeed. Tommy Krysan, who has the legendary podcast, and we'll get all of your information, and TK will give you all of his information at the end. TK, I'm not sure if you saw, but Missouri just announced that they have 7 players out. They didn't announce that it was starters or what it was. A lot of craziness, man, is going on around this game. What do you expect tomorrow, Saturday at 11 at kickoff? Where do you see this game going?
Well, it's all about the mind-boggling year of 2020, and Missouri's got players out. Every school's having to deal with this at all different levels, all across the country. And I don't think anybody's surprised. I mean, years ago, if you'd have heard an announcement on a Thursday that 7 players are out, you'd have been, "Oh my goodness, what's going on?" So I think you just roll with it now, and you have to. If you're LSU, you can't worry about that. They still got some scholarship football players. They're not a good team. They're going to finish in the bottom of the East, but LSU still got to take care of what they can take care of: offense, defense, special teams. Block out everything else. They travel today to Missouri. They'll practice up there in like a convention center building tomorrow, and then they'll kick it off Saturday morning. I think LSU is going to be just fine. Certainly, from Missouri perspective, if you're losing a couple of players, then that can't be good. There's a reason guys are backups, because other guys are better than them. But somebody's going to get an opportunity from Missouri. They're going to show up, try to get it done. LSU still got to go take care of business like they did against Vanderbilt. Do what you got to do for 60 minutes and fly home with a W.
Yeah, and look, I'm not when I make this comparison, TK, and I know that you know that I'm not saying this, but Derek Stingley being out for against Mississippi State was a very damn big deal, right? Like, I mean, it was a very big deal. And I'm not saying that Missouri has any caliber of player up to Derek Stingley, but if it is a couple of starters, it's a big deal. And you're right, LSU needs to go out there and take care of business. TK, I mean, I listen to your podcast all the time, and so I know, but tell all the RU Syrians, for the first 2 weeks, what have you seen from LSU that you're extremely impressed about?
Well, everybody was optimistic. Everybody thought, coming off 16 straight wins, the 15-0 season, everybody was gang ho, and maybe some people got caught looking at some purple and gold glasses, looking at the team through that, because you had to put a lot of new guys out there. Miles Brennan was untested; he didn't have any meaningful snaps in his career at LSU. Mississippi State came in and got hot. Of course, they laid an egg the next week, but they were hot that day. LSU didn't get it done. And it might have been that wake-up call that LSU needed to figure out that we got to get better. Coach Orgeron talked that they had to improve before the Vanderbilt game. They did in many regards. Were they perfect? No. Was Miles Brennan perfect? No. Did they drop passes? Yeah. So, but the defense did the job. And look, Vanderbilt's not going to beat a lot of people. I think that quarterback they had will be good one day. He's just got to, get that experience and pay those dues. Same thing with the kid that Missouri's going to start. I watched him against Tennessee. I thought he was pretty good, going to be better. But LSU got better. It's what Coach O wanted to see. And my guess is he told that team after the Vanderbilt win, okay, that was good. We got a road conference win. That's always big. However, we have to keep getting better. We got 7, 8 more football games in front of us. At that time, they thought they'd be at home. Again, you got to adjust. Nobody should be shocked and surprised at anything that happens in the sports world at any level right now. So I think, they're going to get out there, continue to improve, work on some things. Going to start a new guy, Turner, on the offensive line at guard. Going to get some more defensive guys out there. And I think the key is the defense is getting more comfortable under Pelini. Again, Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt. Missouri's Missouri. Those two are going to finish in the bottom of the East. But I think it's perfect for LSU. They're going to need it because they got to go to Gainesville the next week, unless that changes. But, so I think if you're an LSU fan, you have to be happy with the progress that you saw, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, like you mentioned, to break that what you're down or what you were saying down too, I agree with you 100%. Any SEC road win's a big deal. I don't really care who it is. I don't care if it's Vandy. I don't care, if it was Arkansas of last year, A&M. It doesn't matter. A road SEC win is a big deal. A lot of questions, TK, that we've been battling all week, and it's been the biggest debate that we've had on the show, and it's not even close, even in the post-game show. John Emery. A lot of people say that, well, let's just see what he can do against somebody else outside of Vandy. But, man, I tell you what, I mean, even Coach O said it this week, we got to get this kid more touches. He's got to be your RB1. He's got to be the guy that you trot out there first, right?
I would agree with that. Look, he had a great career at Destrehan. His high school coach is a friend of mine. He told me, he said, hey, nothing this guy does will surprise me. He can go. He's the real deal, all of this good stuff. So, therefore, I think he's got to be the guy. But you need more than one running back to win in college football. LSU's got a bunch of them. Curry might be a little banged up, but I think you give Emery the ball and you let him get after it, catching the ball out of the backfield. He also did a good job picking up the blitz a few times, blocking in the backfield last week. A lot of people don't watch that kind of stuff. Sometimes I do, but John Emery's the real deal. And, he's powerful. He might not run away for an 80-yard touchdown. He might not outrun all the defensive backs, but he's a guy that can be the bell cow for LSU's running game.
Well, TK, and we pulled up the video and we showed, not on here, but we did on Twitter. There was a play when it was like a stick route on the outside to the right of the offense. And John Emery was to the left of Miles Brennan, and they overloaded the left side with a blitz. If he does not pick up two defenders and he just really rocked one of them, Miles Brennan's about to get absolutely just demolished by two defenders. So I'm right there with you. I think he showed a lot better. I don't really care, TK, and this is just me, though, that he made a great block. My thing is that he knew where to go, right? Like, that shows that he's been in this playbook. He knows what this offense, and he knows where to go. So I'm a sucker for blocking as a former center. So, yeah, I love seeing a running back block. So I love seeing that.
Let's point this out, too. The running back coach for LSU, Kevin Falk, as great of a running back as he was a very good blocker. It's one reason he stuck with the Patriots for so long. I guarantee you, Tom Brady be the first to tell you, he picked up many a guy that would have took Brady's head off. So you got Falk now working with the running backs, and I'm not at practice, but I can promise you he is putting an emphasis on blocking in the backfield because that's what NFL scouts are going to see. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire was good at that. And he ended up at the end of the first round. So I think, Emery's the real deal. I'm taking nothing away from the other two guys because, one of them might have 100 yards this week against Missouri because I think they're going to try to run the football. But Emery out of Destrehan, he may be that next guy in the long line of very, very good LSU running backs.
I agree. And, look, even Ed mentioned this when they did that, I forget what it was, when Tom Brady was in Louisiana. And he was talking about Kevin Falk, and something happened. I forget how Ed got connected with Tom, and he said that, look, he's my favorite running back I've ever played with. And, they asked him why. Ed asked him why. He goes, because he picked up the blitz. So exactly what you were talking about. Tommy Krysan, our good friend Tommy Krysan, and he's going to give you all of his information at the end as soon as he gets off. Great, fantastic podcast. It's one of my main podcasts that I go to every day. So TK will give that to you. Guys, if you have questions inside of Facebook Live, YouTube, or Twitter, hit us with the hashtag AskTK, and we'll get those over to him. Let me ask you this too, Tommy, is that a lot of people have been kind of speculating too, just around this offense. And I know a lot of our talk already has been about the offense, but I've seen a lot from the defense as well. They struggled in week 1. Now that they got back and they did better in week 2. You talked about the improvements for this Bo Pelini defense. What have you saw outside of having Derek Stingley back, obviously? What have you seen that's made such the biggest impact for that defensive side of the ball?
Probably a big thing was the mental aspect, okay? This is easy for me to say this right now, but they walked on the field against Mississippi State a little cocky, They riding that long win streak, and they thought, hey, we're going to win this game. And Mississippi State's got the new coach, the new quarterback. And you just got to give State credit. So I think their bubble got burst a little bit because they know what to do. Bo Pelini is a very scheme-oriented mental coach, and these guys know what to do. They just didn't perform well, and maybe some adjustments weren't there. Coach O admitted that perhaps they should have adjusted more against Mississippi State. So I think, Mississippi State's better than Vanderbilt. There's no doubt about that. But I think LSU got that confidence, and I think they cleaned up the mental end of things with where to be, who to cover, what to do. And, you got this freshman that's going to quarterback for Missouri, Connor Bazelak. He's a stand-in-the-pocket guy. He's not a real threat to run unless he absolutely has to run. So they're going to sit back, and we'll see if they can't confuse this freshman into throwing some bad balls, or maybe LSU getting a couple of picks here and there.
Look, I might be the only person in America that thinks this in Louisiana right now. What I saw from Connor Bazelak last week, TK, I didn't care about the pick. Didn't care. That kid came in and was ripping it. Now, if all things were to have been normal here, and I know that we can't say that in 2020, but I'm not saying he's going to beat LSU, but I think that they can put some points up from what I saw. A couple questions we have for you here too. We had one because we told everybody that you were coming on the show today in the email, and it was #AskTK. LSU's offensive line has had three different starting lineups. How big of a deal is that for you in 3 weeks, three different starting lineups?
Well, you don't like to see that. You'd rather have one unit and then have that sixth guy or seventh guy that can take some snaps when somebody needs a blow. But James Craig's a good offensive line coach. He had the best offensive line in the country last year. Of course, all them guys ended up in an NFL camp or they're playing in NFL games. So right. I think you defer to him, the fact that he knows what he's doing. They're going to put the best five out there. There's no question about that. You're a former offensive lineman. It's a unit. These guys have pride. Yeah. They want to run the football. They want to pick up first downs. They don't want the quarterback to get sacked. So they got pride. And I can assure you that the people they're going to put out there have talent. Maybe they're not a household name yet. New guy's going to start, at the offensive guard with Ingram and Cardell Thomas out. So, that's what you go to LSU so you can play in the games and play in the Southeastern Conference. So these guys who we haven't necessarily heard of, they need to get out there and go ahead and make the most of that opportunity and grade out well. And so the coach can, don't give the coach a reason to pull you out. Give the coach a reason why he's got to keep running you out there. And if they can do that, they'll be all right. Again, Missouri is not, again, they're going to finish at the bottom of the East. So, but forget that. You still got to do your job on every single snap, play the next play, and get after it.
TK, a former, I was a Franklin, and I know that all my listeners, and you know that. But Adrian McGee, last year when Ed Ingram came back, I mean, we picked it up a step. So the competitiveness, I agree with you. We have a question here, a fan question. #AskTK. What is your score prediction, TK, for the game?
I got it. I saw that flash up there. It's in my podcast. But 37-13, Tigers win, which means they cover the spread. And I predicted that prior to knowing Missouri was going to miss a handful of guys. That announcement came out after I recorded my podcast, which included that prediction and some other stuff in there. So I like 37-13. Tigers get on a plane, fly home with a W.
I like that too, TK. Man, what, and I say our profession, but people who do the live streams and do the podcast, the suckiest thing is when you do a show and all of a sudden something breaks and you're like, oh my God, why did I have to do that just then? But yeah, I'm with you. It's always a revolving door on this stuff, man.
Well, but I've been wrong on LSU the first 2 weeks, so keep that in mind. I thought they'd cover the spread against State, and I liked Vandy in 20. I didn't think Vandy beat LSU. I thought it might be tighter. I read too much into Vandy playing well against A&M. We know A&M's not real good anymore, and they don't have a quarterback. So, Jimbo Fisher's got his problems there. But, so, last year I was pretty accurate all season long with LSU. This year I'm not off to a good start with the Tigers, but I can tell you one thing. I'm a competitor. I'm not going to stop picking. I'm not going to stop trying.
Yeah. Hey, look, I got the Auburn LSU score right. 2 years ago in 2018, I had 23-21. Why? The 23 was a typo, TK. A typo. I meant to do 24-21. And that whole year, Blake, what's the score going to be? I'm like, man, I ain't ever going to live this down. But I'm with you. I don't think I've been right since.
Well, we all get some right. We all get some wrong. Last year, as you know, I picked the Tigers to go 12-0 before the season started. A couple of years ago, I picked Troy to beat them straight up in that upset, so I got that one right. I had my reasons for doing that. We can talk about that later. But but when you pick games, you're going to get some right. You're going to get some wrong. That's why they call it gambling. That's why Vegas keeps putting up more buildings. You're not going to be right, but you have fun with it. And I don't remember when I'm wrong. I usually remember when I'm right.
Me too. I know all the people in the comments always tell me when I'm wrong, but it's all good. All right, Blake McGraw, our good friend, says, ask TK what he thinks about Coach Steve Ensminger.
I don't think he gets enough credit. I mean, this guy is a quiet guy. He's not warm and fuzzy with the media. He'd rather have a root canal than talk to the media, okay? I've known Steve a long time. This guy knows football. He's a competitor. He played for Coach McClendon. He had a cup of coffee in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. He has coached in a lot of different places, okay? And there's two ways to read that when a guy's coached in 10, 12 different places. Number one, it means he didn't stay anywhere real long. But what I read into that, he was around a lot of good football people and football coaches. He learned a lot of what to do. He learned what not to do when he looked back on all those experiences he's had across the Southeastern Conference, Louisiana Tech. I mean, he's been a lot of places, okay? Auburn, A&M. He's been there. Steve doesn't get enough credit for what he does for LSU football, in particular in the offense. And look, the players love him. They absolutely will tell you I'll do anything for Coach Ensminger. He's smarter than people think because he doesn't talk a lot. They think, well, but no. And look, Joe Brady deserves a lot of credit last year. And Linehan deserves a lot of credit this year. But do not overlook the job that Steve Ensminger has done for this football team. I can promise you the players know it, and the rest of that coaching staff knows it. I think a lot of Steve Ensminger, a great guy to drink a beer with, and he knows his football, I can promise you.
Yes, indeed. The funniest story about Steve Ensminger was Ross Dellinger. Steve Ensminger walks out of the dressing room after the UCF win, and Ross just stayed around and was hanging out. I think it was that game. And Steve looks at Dellinger. He goes, not right now, Dellinger. I ain't got time for your ass. Dellinger. And just walked off. He just don't care. He just wants to coach and get out of there. And you know what, TK? Here's another thing, too. He ain't going nowhere. And that's hard to find, right? Like Joe Brady's not here anymore. You have coaches who have left. LSU is his gig. LSU is his place. And I really, really do love Coach Ensminger. All right. We're not going to put you on the spot, but we do have this comment. As TK, let's talk about Troy now. I don't know if we want to get into that tonight, but TK.
I'll give you the real quick story. I had some inside information that the LSU locker room was fractured that week. There was a lot of bickering among the team, and they didn't have a lot of confidence in each other. It was just a bad locker room that week. And then I I used to do picks in Las Vegas, and I picked Troy to win straight up. And, everybody thought I was crazy. And I got that one right. But it was because there was some big issues in the locker room that week, which Coach O immediately cleaned up after that game.
Yeah. And
that's the short version. I ain't giving you the long version on air here.
Well, Esteban, I'll give you a little something. Let's just say Air Canada wasn't very high that night.
Let's say that's part of the problem.
Let's say that. All right. Coach E just seems like a straight shooter. That's the type of folks I like. Yeah, I agree. TK, a couple more questions for you, and we'll get you on out of here. We greatly appreciate you joining the show. Last thing, and just because of your knowledge and you've been around, the game so long, what do you think that Ed – it seems like the culture's different. And everyone says, well, Blake, no duh, the culture's different. They just won a national championship. But, man, I remember so many times that an LSU team would lose to a Bama or lose to a Florida, and then the following week, TK, they would come out flat as hell. Why do you think that is? And I have my reasons, but why do you think that Ed is so good? And, look, even after the Troy game, you go to Gainesville and win. how is he so good at getting teams to refocus and coming back next week ready to go?
I think it's the passion he has for LSU and for winning a football game. And he, like Ensminger, was around some great coaches as he bounced around in his career. Even coached a year in the NFL with the Saints. Some people don't realize that. But, he was around some great coaches who knew how to coach people, not coach players. Coach Orgeron coaches people, not players. And his passion, those vibes, when they rip through that locker room and he's got them guys ready to eat raw meat and bite nails, I mean, that can end up being a difference in that close game or in that 3rd and 1 where you pick it up, or the other team's got 3rd and 1, you stop them, defense gets off the field. I think that's the difference. Does it work every time? No, because I'm not smart enough to know how any sports team at any level can have a letdown. I guess it's just hard to do that mentally. How many games you got? I mean, we've seen high school teams have a letdown, college, NFL. It's just part of human nature. It is the psyche that's involved. I mean, it's a tricky thing. The brain's the most powerful thing in the world, and it can be positive, it can be negative. But Coach O's passion for LSU, his passion for winning football games, and his passion for people, I think that's why they won a national championship. Along with a lot of great coaches and a lot of great players, he'll be the first to tell you that great players make great coaches. Okay. If you got great players, you become a great coach. And he knows that. He said that the day he was hired at LSU. That was something he learned. Great players make great coaches. But I think he's done a wonderful job. Look, don't discount that analyst staff. Don't forget John Robinson's in there, who's got a wealth of knowledge, and all these people that he can call Pete Carroll. He can call Jimmy Johnson. He can call all these people and say, how would you handle this? Or how do you think I should handle this? And all of that put together, you throw all of that in the pot, okay? And you end up with
football gumbo, baby.
yeah. And then you end up with success. You end up with a national championship. We don't know what's going to happen the rest of this year, but if you're a Tiger fan, I think you just need to get in there and be with them, because it's going to be a fun ride.
Spot on. As Jacob Perilou, my good friend over in the Tangible Parish area, says, TK is on point, and I agree with you there, TK. One last question. I got to ask you a baseball question. I see it playing on in the background. We asked Zach Pearson last night, and he gave a prediction. He said that his Astros were too hot to get beat today again. What have you seen? How I actually love this baseball playoff. It's been fantastic for me. Who's your team? Who do you got being in the World Series?
Yeah, you got to look at the Dodgers, and you got to look at the Rays, who tangling up with the Yankees right now behind me. But it's all about the pitcher. It doesn't matter what park you're in. It don't matter if you're the home team, the visiting team. If your pitcher's on it, he can command his pitches, throw him where he wants to throw him. You're going to be a good chance to win the baseball game. I've loved the baseball playoffs. They're probably going to keep this format going forward. I would think that they do. And it's been exciting to look, and I say this about all the sports. I tune in to watch baseball game to see the greatest baseball players in the world play baseball. I don't care about all this other stuff. Same thing with the other sports. I've been able to block that out, compartmentalize it. I like being a former pitcher. I like to see the pitcher try to get the batter out with the help of his teammates. That's what it's all about to me. And I'm in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, I'd throw the curveball again, or I'd come inside, or I'd do this, I'd do that. And I try to match wits with the guys out there. And I'm certainly not at their level, but it's fun for me. It's a hobby. It's a passion. I love baseball as much as anybody you'll ever meet.
Well, TK, I'm with you. And we even asked Pearson, I said, hey, who's the toughest guy you ever faced? And he goes, well, Bregman, for one. I know I never faced him in a live game. He goes, man, I threw like a knuckle curve or something, he said, and this was a long time ago, not last night, but he even said it then. He's like, man, I threw something crazy, and he knew it was coming. Like, that's just what great players do. All right, TK.
Real quick, one of the greatest baseball players I played against was Augie Schmidt, who was a shortstop at UNO. He was the Golden Spikes Award winner in 1982, which was his junior year, my senior year. Let me figure this out. He's the best player in the country, okay, and he truly was. He went 1 for 7 off of me that year. He wins the Golden Spikes Award. I don't get a vote. How the hell did that happen?
I don't know. Probably Ronnie Rance had something to do with it.
Rance was a young kid. He was a bad boy at UNO right after Augie played, actually. You see, I'm like getting you some information. Y'all are too young to remember all that stuff. But Augie Schmidt was a great ball player at UNO, Golden Spikes Award winner, a shortstop. If he caught the ball, you were out. He had an absolute cannon across the diamond. If he got it in his hand, I don't care how fast you were out at first.
That's insane. Insane. TK, we greatly appreciate you joining the show. Tell all of the great RU Syrians where they can catch your great podcast and everything that you're doing.
It's called Talking Sports with TK. It's available on all your major platforms, Spotify, Anchor, TuneIn, iHeart, Amazon, Apple. It's on all of them. Or you can connect with me on social media. I'll make sure you get a link. Tommy Krysan, as you see it on the screen, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm happy to connect with people. I love sports, food, fun, and music. So connect with me. I also do Sports Shorts Daily, twice a week video with Ronnie Rance. Follow Sports Shorts, hosted by Ronnie Rance on YouTube. We do a lot of great stuff with that, and it's a lot of fun. So I mix all that in and just love talking sports, having fun. And when I'm not talking sports, I'm listening to Led Zeppelin.
I hear you. We lost a true legend this week too in Van Halen. But hey, you know what we're gonna do. TK, my man, as always, it was a pleasure, and we'll talk again soon. And hopefully the Tigers will come out victorious. And that's the LSU Tigers, that is.
Thank you, Blake. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, man. Have a good night. That's Tommy Krysan. TK, our good friend TK. Man, he is just always on point with everything he does. Just a wealth of knowledge, football, baseball, no matter what it is. I love listening to his podcast every single day that he sends it, or I see it, and I get the updates that his podcast is up. I go listen to it. A lot of inside information. TK's been around the LSU program for a very, very long time. Breaking stories, giving analysis. So definitely go check out his podcast when you're able to. All right, guys, before we get done with the show, we're going to do some Saints breakdown as well. But we got to get our good friends over at the Boston. Guys, with the best seafood, steak, and sushi and all of the North Shore, the Boston is your place to be. With over 30 years of cooking experience, you can go over to the Boston. See all of their great, and I mean absolutely fantastic, cooking or dishes, at facebook.com/the Boston Restaurant. That's facebook.com/the Boston Restaurant. And tell them Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you. Paraloo says, hell yeah, boss, rock on, AC/DC over here. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, before we get out of here and before we say this, guys, I know I come in here, I always say hit the like and share, and, you know, I forgot to say that, but we would appreciate it if you do that. I'm going to give you my Saints prediction as well. I think the Saints defense is going to eventually get better, and I don't know when it's going to be. Although, and I didn't give my LSU prediction, but I pretty much told you it's going to be 42-17, the Tigers, the LSU Tigers. But, man, I'm really interested to see the Saints this week. Very, very interested to see the Saints this week. They've done really bad in the past against rookie quarterbacks. So we'll have to see. Yeah, Jacob, I keep forgetting that, man. You got to be in here to let us know. #LastRide. I've said this Monday, and I'm going to say it again. I'll admit when I'm wrong because I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. I was completely wrong about Justin Herbert. I thought what I saw at Oregon, that he was highly inaccurate, that he did have some mobility, and he had a big arm, but he just couldn't push. Even though he could push the ball down the field, you can't always do that in the NFL. I thought he reminded me way too much of Josh Allen, and clearly I was wrong about the both of them. I actually like Josh Allen a little bit more than most, but he's coming into his own. Austin Eckler, the running back for the Chargers, is going to be out this week, so he's not going to have an efficient running game. With that being said, he does have Keenan Allen as a wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in all of the NFL. But I don't think that's going to matter, y'all. I don't think that's going to matter. What we saw last week against Detroit, with the Saints running the ball as effectively as they did, I think that they get back to that. I don't know, and I know that we beat this over the head and beat people over the head with this, that Drew's not the same player, and he's not. But I think that Sean Payton finally understood, because, guys, we didn't lose to the Raiders. Now, on the scoreboard we did, but we didn't lose that game in the sense of that they straight out beat us. What happened there is that we got away from doing what the Saints need to do in running the football. I think that now that they've come in here, hey, give Latavius Murray his reps. Give him his touches. Give AK the ball as much as you can. And God forbid, Drew Brees get a more connection with Traquan Smith and Emmanuel Sanders. Oh, and by the way, Mike Thomas is coming back. I think this team had its early struggles, and I was a very harsh critic of them. But now that I sit back and I continue to think of the Saints team, I think that they'll be okay. So give me the Saints 31-20 this Monday night for Monday Night Football. I think that they have at least 30 rushes, at least 30 passes. Drew Brees picks them apart, but we still see this running game. So, guys, let me know, and we'll get on out of here as well. Give me your Saints prediction for this Monday night. Paraloo says, is Lattimore back? I don't know that. Look, Jacob, here's what I've been saying about the Lattimore thing. Hey, unless he's covering Mike Evans, do we really miss him? You got to pay Ryan Ramczyk. I know a lot of people want to pay Lattimore, but look what happened last week when Ramczyk went out. The ability to run the football went away. So I'm not sure, but it looks like Mike Thomas is going to be questionable this week. Brandy Palmer Blake, outstanding game. Bats are hot. Got scared for a moment. I guess you guys are talking about the Astros game. We need him. Man, he's just been bad the last couple. I mean, if he's not covering an elite receiver, what has he done, man? He just keeps getting beat. I'm not arguing with you here, Jacob, but I'm just not as high on him as most. So give me 31-20, the Saints. Let me see. I can try to look this up and see. Says he questionable. So we'll see, Paraloo. We'll see. All right, guys, everyone be safe for the storm. We're going to call it a little bit short tonight as we do have some football on. Guys, don't forget to go to our YouTube channel at Are You Serious Sports. Hit that subscribe button and hit the bell. Tommy Krysan, the great Tommy Krysan, was our guest. Guys, be safe and see us Saturday for the postgame show after the LSU game. We will be right on as soon as the Tigers game is over. So come catch us with the postgame show. Guys, my name is Blake Ruffino, and y'all have a good night and be safe. Peace out.